I have all these stories that want to come to life and might not put them together. I could write two different books, one science fiction and one slice of life, daily account of events that happen in Paris would be fine too. But I think it got like a really different spice and really uniqueness that I haven't seen yet. I can be wrong, of course. Yeah, there could be books about that, but I personally haven't seen them, and I thought this uniqueness would work in my favor.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's the author podcast where we get to meet amazing people from around the world. And I really mean that because today we're going to do some traveling. I'm in Canada, and anytime I can leave Canada and go somewhere else, especially in the winter, I like going to places warm. And my guest is somewhere warm. Vinny's joining us today. We're talking about his book. We're talking about what happens under full moons here on the podcast. I'm excited about this. And Vinny's joining us from somewhere very warm and very beautiful on my list of places I must go sometime. Vinny, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I'm glad to have you on the podcast.
Well, thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, it's very hot. As you can, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be...
We'll have the video too, yeah.
We're the video too, but you can see outside. It's sunny outside, and we are during one of the hottest months of the year here in Brazil, where we are. And I'm in Brasilia, which is the capital.
Nice.
It's right in the middle of Brazil. It was intended to be like that. So it's a strategic position. It was planned. It's a planned city. It has actually one of the most famous architects of this century, which is Maia. He's designed the city. So the city is very new. It has almost like 60 years old.
Really?
But it's a big city now because it was designed to be the capital and was created from scratch. So everything has its place. It's a very organized now. It's a very beautiful place too. We have like very, very famous buildings that were designed by this architect.
Wow.
And it's a very nice place to live.
Wow. Okay. All right. A planned city. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was planned to be the capital. So because the middle of Brazil was not... there were not a lot of people there, and when the capital before that was Rio, and they wanted to populate the interior of Brazil, and so they devised a way. So let's bring the capital to the interior. It's going to be more strategically placed. So they created from scratch, and we had a lot of people come here to build the city. And nowadays it's a very, very, we have like, I think 4 million people now here in Brasilia. Wow. It's a big city now.
Wow.
It was really fast too, because all the administration and the public sector, almost everything migrated to here. So we have like a vibrant city.
Wow. Excellent. And like 60 years old. That's not a very old city at all. That's amazing.
No, it's very new. Yeah. We're now having the first generation of people who were born here, because normally when I was growing up, all my friends, their parents were from Rio, São Paulo, and other cities. So we grew up with a lot of influence from other cities because everybody had family somewhere else. And now it's the first generation that the kids have parents also from Brazil.
Wow. Okay. So, Vinny, we have on this show, we have authors who listen to our podcast. They're new at the process of writing. They're just starting. They don't know what you know. You've done this. You're published. You've gone through the process. You know things that could really help somebody who's just beginning as a writer. What kind of things would have been helpful for you to hear before writing Under Full Moons? Like, if another author could talk to you, what kind of things would have been helpful to hear, you think, now that you look back?
Yeah. Now that I look back, because writing this book was a personal quest to me that I wanted to take, regardless of wanting to be an author, wanting to write. I want I wanted to write this book first. I am traditionally published in the computer section. I have books on computers, but I wanted to write fiction too. But I wanted to write specifically this book. So there are some things that today I know that would be helpful if I wanted just to publish a book. But because I wanted to write this book, I didn't pay that much attention to that. But there are things that new authors that can like prosper in the field, they could pay attention to. I mean, first of all, the length of the book. If you're a first time author, your book can be too long, depending on the genre. On the genre, you could focus on 80,000 words, which is like the sweet spot for a first time author, maybe a little less. Yeah. And there are some themes that nowadays are more in vogue with the publishers, so they could like go to the sites, first of all, see the pages, because normally to be traditionally published today, you have to have an agent. So there's a process to have an agent, and that process normally involves a platform called Query Tracker. And where authors send their query letters to the agents, so it's useful perhaps before writing a book, focus on what area specifically they want to write about, and then finding like 10, 20, 30 agents that work in that area and see what they are running right now in terms of size, in terms of focus, of female leading, or something in that area, because it helps them out if they want it to be traditionally published. But if they wanted just to publish their book, which is, or write their book, which is something I chose to do, then focus exactly what you want to write about and don't pay attention to that thing. And it's something that it's, I think it's an important decision, because it's very difficult to be traditionally published today unless you follow the specifics of the market in that time. During that time, nowadays the market is very niche now, and there are some things that the agents look for in an author, and I recommend authors looking for that and see where they fit, and they can like then prepare the book that they want to write. But for me, I wanted to write this specific book, not worrying about that. So it's a little bit longer than normally a first fiction book would be. And it has some things that I wanted to talk about, regardless if it was going to be published or not. But if authors want to be published, they have, I suggest they look for these things first.
Okay. Yeah, because when I'm reading the cover of your book, A Tale of Parenting in Paris and The Fate of the Universe, those two things don't seem to go together in my mind. Those seem to be two different things. Yeah. And then here's a guy from Brazil talking about parenting in Paris. There's a lot of things going on here for a reader to kind of go, wait a minute. I thought Vinny's from Brazil. Okay, but there's a lot going on. So what's the connection about your family in Paris, and kind of when was that time period as it relates to us recording today? Can you give us a little history about your family in Paris then, as far as the idea behind the book?
Yeah, that's actually a very, very good question. It's actually part of my life. I've been in the academia since forever, and I've traveled all the world with my studies and with my work, and I've lived in a few places, and that's what this story is about. And actually, it was from a time, because when I did my PhD, I lived in Sweden, in
Hmm.
Stockholm, and my wife would we didn't have kids yet, so she would stay a month with me there, come back to Brazil, stay a month working here, and because she had to conciliate with her work, so she would travel back and forth. That was when I was in my during my PhD. But then we came back to Brazil, got to work, we had kids, and then she wanted to do a master's degree. Master's degree, she was pursuing one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, is Sciences Po, which is an institute in Paris. And she's a lawyer, and she wanted to do some international law regarding to human rights. So the best place, and she got accepted there. And I told her, no, it's your time. I'll go there, take care of the kids, and you focus on your studies. So I'll take care of the house and take care of everything. And I thought it would be really was going to be a really easy operation. I'm going to be in Paris. I'm going to just take care of the kids. I'm not going to work. It's going to be really easy. And I thought to myself, I read a book about parenting in Paris. So because I'll have all this extra time uh, that I'll have in my hands. So I'm gonna write. I'll love to write, and this is gonna be maybe a journal for my kids when they grow up.
Okay.
They won't remember because they were 1 year old and 3 years old at the time. We lived there for 2 years, and they're gonna read this journal and see what was their life like there. And I read that with that in mind. And the first month was like a, a wrecking ball. I saw that I would not have any time to write because it's really, really intense. I take care of the kids, take care of the house, and doing everything. I thought I would have all this extra time, which I didn't have like a second. I would be because when you're working, actually, I had a really good friend of mine that I got to know there in Paris. I would walk the kids to school with her, with this friend, and we will talk about raising the kids. And during the first month, she asked me while we were walking to take the kids to school. Oh, so you did your PhD? You work with all the staff in Brazil, and how you're finding is it difficult? And I said to her, no, this is a piece of cake. And I remember meeting her like 3 months later and saying, oh my God, I was so wrong. I'm really sorry. This is really, really difficult. And so the I think I would on my mind, I thought that I would write like once every 2 days, and I got to write the first paragraph like on the second month, and later would be like 2 months later. So during all those 2 years that I spent there, I got to read in Paris. I wrote like 10 pages, and then when I came back to Brazil with those 10 pages written, it was like a journal. And I look at this and wow, it was not exactly what I had planned. And then it hit me because then when we came back, I got back to working and got back when while going back to work, I started to have more free time because kids were in school and you get more
Yeah.
time than working and stuff. And I got in touch with something that I always wanted to write because not only the journal that I wanted to write, but I also am passionate about astrophysics. I had all my academic career was in science and not exactly astrophysics, but it's something that I got real big interest into. So I merged the two things. So I'm going to still write the journal about our time there. So that part is 100% exactly what happened. Then I'm going to weave a story of science fiction using like astrophysics, recent research in astrophysics inside that story. So yeah, it got really original because it has these two things that aren't traditionally linked together. And but the result I'm really proud of, and was when I finished writing the book, that took like 4 years to write. It was 2 years not writing it in Paris, and then 2 years when I got back that I really got to write it. And but it has all, because I would use like my timeline with the cell phone to know uh, exactly where I was that day, and I would write what I think that is the interesting bits, and I I I put some astrophysics in it, and a real interesting science fiction story, and you have like Paris, astrophysics, parenting, all this stuff,
Wow.
like a really, really interesting mix of topics. And that got me some really good critiques. Before I published the book, I would send them to the editors, and they would say that it was really original, having this slice of life and this science fiction part mixed together, and having Paris as the backdrop. But it would turn out to be really interesting. Otherwise, for me,
Yeah.
and for sure people who are, most of the people that read it tell me it's very interesting, especially if they have kids, or if they have some experience leaving their comfort zone, or maybe living abroad, or just moving from one city to another, or trying a new job, or leaving their comfort zone, what the kind of things that happen there.
Yeah.
And a really interesting science fiction plot interweaving with that.
Because being a parent is almost like learning another language. It's almost like being put into a new situation that you're not used to. You have expectations. You're going to have all this free time. That's like parenting in a way. You're like, oh, it's going to be so
Yeah, yeah.
easy, no problem, it's
Yeah,
simple. And then you realize it's not. Just as a
yeah.
parent. So any parent listening to this is going to relate to kind of the concept of the story, no matter where you live, or if you've ever lived abroad. Just being a parent, you're going to be able to appreciate some of the stories from your book. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, yeah. I think everybody's going to relate to one. I mean, imagine some scenes would happen with every kind of family, regardless of living abroad or not. But those type of day to day occurrences that spice life, and on how we are surprised by everything that happens, and every day is something different, and you're not. I was not prepared for that, not at all. And one thing that it's also was very, very important to me, is that I recognize how difficult it is to be a parent without the close support of your parents, because
Yeah.
living abroad, you are isolated. You have friends, of course, but it's really difficult to rely on anybody to do something. For example, I felt like I couldn't get sick, because if I got sick, my wife wouldn't be able to go to the university. We would the kids wouldn't go to school, and all those things. But one simple thing that happens in the everyday life of everybody at some time would be like a major event.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really empathetic now with people that are parents that don't have their family close, so they have to rely on friends, or they have to rely on each other, and so without a safe net. It's something that I saw it's very, very important to have.
Mm-hmm. So we have the parental side of the story. Who is the other side of the story written for? Who do you have in mind who's going to appreciate more of the non-parent family style of the book, more of what the book also? What's that other audience for this book?
Yeah, we have about maybe two other sides. One is Paris,
Yeah,
because it is a very interesting city. It has all its unique dynamics, how people, the Parisians are, and Aotearoa is very difficult to be. I mean, I think it's difficult for themselves too, because Parisians, at first I thought was something with me being from Brazil, and the first you can see that you're not, not, you don't feel welcome,
yeah,
uh, normally, and I thought it was something related to that. But then when I got there, I saw that it was more related to the way they are too, because they are like that with each other. I would see Parisians not being that welcoming with each other,
yeah,
and so it has that aspect. So how to navigate this social this society that's very interesting, because the city is beautiful. You have a lot to do, you have a lot to see. It's the cultural aspect of it. It's very, 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 very interesting. And when you get to know Parisians, you can understand how they think, and you can communicate better. And then you can like ease your inside. I don't know if that's also a Brazilian characteristic, that you can like get well with almost everybody in the world. We can like
yeah.
uh, communicate and find some common ground. And in the end, we understood how to navigate that, and we had a lot of fun with the Parisians too. But this is one other aspect. The city itself, it's a whole unique dynamic.
Right.
You have a very beautiful city. You have a very unique people. This is one other aspect. The other aspect is being an expatriate, how to live, how to navigate those problems too, and how to integrate with the locals, and that's another aspect that I think is very interesting. And the science fiction aspect, which
Yeah.
is a whole another story. Yes, and that I deal with. Three main themes, but two are from modern physics, which is dark matter and dark energy. I don't know if you ever heard something about
Yeah.
those, but yeah, and I integrate those. So we have this alien entities that live in the future, but they are experiencing the end of the universe in the future, which is caused by the phenomenon originated in dark energy, where you had like these three possible outcomes, and I chose the one that would end the world in the big rip, and which is a real possible outcome for the universe nowadays, caused by dark energy, where this energy is making the universe expand at a greater and greater acceleration every time. So you will accelerate at such a speed it's gonna be tearing atoms apart. With they're gonna get apart faster than the speed of light and tear the universe apart.
Hmm.
So these aliens in the future are experiencing that. They come to our time because they feel the energy of dreams, and that this energy of dreams can somehow avert this fatal destiny, but they need help, like channeling the dreams to avert the big rip in the future.
Hmm.
And the dark matter, which is the part that enables these beings to be in other places and other time. uh, so I use what we know about dark matter and dark energy, and I ground them, my theories on actual possibilities, so that these two these two concepts can work in my book.
Okay. Why are you so fascinated by that part around dark energy, dark matter? Where does that come for you personally? Why is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, because uh, when I started studying these things, is something that I don't know. It talks to me in the sense that we know so little about everything. Because, for example, dark matter. Dark matter is the matter because we know nowadays we actually know that the ordinary matter that composes the atoms, the stars, everything, only composes about 5% of the whole matter in the universe. And what is the other matter? Well, and how do we know that this matter exists? Because like ordinary matter, the other types of matter they produce gravity. So when you have like a star, you can measure the orbit of the planets around, and you can because of the orbit know how much mass that star has. That when scientists got to observe the universe, they saw orbits and they saw the influence of matter, but they couldn't see the matter. So they're measuring the universe and they know that's gravity over there that doesn't come from the matter of the stars that we're seeing. So that this matter that they see the gravity that comes from it, but they don't see the
Yeah.
matter, they're calling dark matter.
Okay.
That's why it's dark matter. So there's all this matter, all this gravity that exists in the universe that you can observe with the orbits and other things that don't have. You can actually see the matter. So that's called dark matter. And then to me, it speaks to me because when you only see and know about just like 5%, it's to me it's fascinating. You have like almost 95% of matter of things that are actually exist that we don't see, we don't know
Yeah.
where it is. It is another dimension. There's that theory that it's matter that is on another dimension, but the gravity oozes out to our dimension, or we don't have the senses to see these other matters. Like it's not on the visible spectrum, or so you'd have to see. So for me, that's fascinating. So that's why. And dark energy, it's the other part of the matter, because you have about 5% of ordinary matter, about 30% of dark matter, that you can translate matter to energy. So with the famous Einstein equation, energy is equals mass times the speed of light. So we can write one thing in terms of the other. So you can write mass in terms of energy or energy in terms of mass. So we see 5% of ordinary matter, of ordinary mass, 30% of that matter, and the rest is dark energy that you can also write or account for in terms of mass too. So you have a lot of things that they exist. We have proof that they exist, but we can't see. We don't know that it is. It's a mystery, and that fascinates me. And I hope I'm alive to see whenever they discover what this mystery is, where all this energy and mass comes from.
So
But I do have my own
yeah.
theories, and
Oh.
those theories are inside the book,
Oh.
weaved into the story.
Okay. So we can touch on that. I like that. When you talk to your kids about this kind of stuff, do they just look at you with their eyes getting bigger and bigger because they're like, what is
Yeah,
dad? What is he
sometimes
saying? Right?
sometimes I talk to them with about these theories. Sometimes they like, because there are some really nice curiosities when you talk about speed of light and talk about distances and time travel and that type of stuff. They really enjoy. Sometimes they take me crazy, and sometimes they very well. Dad, we don't want to listen to the stories, or sometimes they when it's something that maybe stirs a little bit of curiosity, they get really excited about sometimes. And there's a lot of things to. I sometimes myself get really flabbergasted when the other day I was listening to a podcast about physics, and they have this is proven, because if we're standing right here and we're looking to a star at the sky, and that star, for example, is 5 light years away, and a friend of you just passes through you and look at the same spot, but he's moving and you're not. You're looking at the same star that's 5 light years away, but he's seeing that star with probably 20,000, 30,000 years in difference. What he's seeing is just completely another time, just because he would have a relative speed to you at the moment to look at this at same place. So you have all those things that are physics, and that translates to these crazy situations that I always like to try to grab a little piece and put it inside the book.
Okay, so now this sounds like two different books, Vinny, that you've written. How do you take a story about a family in Paris and dark matter and blend them together into a story? I don't understand what's the connection between these two things, and how did you make this work for a reader?
Yeah, maybe it's something that I I am always normally my also sometimes my wife looks at me and she's speaking, and then she tells me, said, "Are you listening to me?" And my mind is somewhere else, and I got that part of it, and I thought, what about that these beings that they wanted to come from the future,
Right.
but they just because you have all the circumstances, physical circumstances here, that we are million of years old evolving in this planet. So our biology is adapted to this. So to get to think that an alien entity would come here and breathe our air, it's not. I mean, it's not feasible practically. So I imagine something that they would manifest in human bodies using using dark matter, so that I can use this as a way to be here. So, and that the connection would be with dreaming, because also humans dream, but also is another part of science that we understand so little about. Because
Right.
why do humans dream? That answer is not answered yet. That the question is not answered yet. So this is also another crazy thing, because you can look outside to see a lot of things that we are only now grasping the basics of, like dark matter and dark energy. But if you look inside to ourselves, we don't understand what's going on inside our bodies, and spend like half of our whole life we are sleeping, and we don't know what happens. Well, what's happening? What is a dream, and how does this relate to ourselves, to reality? This what happened in the dream? It's a reality. So I use those things that is the bridge to
Okay.
bring the science fiction part to living in Paris. So on top of all the things, the problems, the day-to-day occurrences, the discovering of not only Paris but also France, because we traveled alone inside of France. And some days would one thing would happen that would manifest this alien entities, and I would have to deal with that too, and all the crazy things that would happen because of that too.
Do you think the book would have been different if you had written more when you were living in Paris and it was like a daily journal, like you kind of originally thought it would be? Do you think the book would have a different story?
Yeah, it would be totally different because I would keep to the journal part.
Right.
Yeah, it would be an telling of the events like they happen. So but when I came back and then when I had time and I was thinking about all this stuff, I had time because I like to sit down and reflect about things, what happened, and read about these things, and they give me all these ideas. And I just couldn't keep myself from putting all these things inside, because to me the book would be really interesting. But then I thought, I have all these stories that want to come to life, and why not put them together? I could write two different books, one science fiction and one slice of life, daily account of events that happen in Paris. Would be fine too, but I think it got like a really different spice and really uniqueness that I haven't seen yet. I can be wrong, of course. Yeah, there could be books about that, but I've personally haven't seen them, and I thought this uniqueness would work in my favor.
It's a great combination. It's not something I've ever heard anybody do, which makes you unique as an author. And for readers, I think they're going to enjoy it for sure. If you could talk to your ideal reader, they have a copy of your book, they're going to read it today. But before they start reading, what would you like to say to that reader, from the author to the reader, before they read your book?
Yeah. The thing is that what I wanted to write was a human story. And of course, you have science fiction with really intricate and interesting plots. But I wanted to write science fiction that had a human feel of it. And, you could relate to what was happening. It's just not that like Buck Rogers or something really, really fantastic heroes and some kind of that. I wanted to write a science fiction story with a really human element of it. So I would say to my readers that read the book as you would read something that could happen to you, and maybe these science fiction elements can happen inside their head that don't mean they are not real, because everything that happens to you, what you perceive as reality, could be your reality. That the main message I wanted to give my readers is that I wanted to write something that could speak to the human side of everybody. How the difficult things that you go to your daily life, and how the human connections are made, making friends and getting to know people for first time when you're outside of your comfort zone, and maybe have a different take on life too, because when you see how it's difficult for someone, and this is something that I relate to now, because wherever I'm in Brazil, and I see someone from another country coming here, and I know Brazil, it's a lot easier than other countries, but I know how difficult it is for each and every person to be outside of their comfort zone. So I try to lend a hand and to be there and to accommodate those people and make them feel welcome. And that's what I wanted to. That's one of the messages that I wanted to give. Is just that science fiction can feel like a closer connection to the human side.
I like it. It's great. Sounds amazing, Vinny. I love this. This is really good. Can we talk a little bit about your website before we go? I want people to come and connect with you and follow your journey as an author.
Sure.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about your website?
Yeah, my website. Let me just sometimes let me open
Yeah.
here so we can talk about it. And so in my website, you have where you can find the book. You have some 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 blurbs about it, and you have a little bit of myself, and it tells a little bit of my story. That I'm an academic researcher. I work in IT too, but I'm a passionate storyteller. So it's what I like to talk about, to write about stories that I find it interesting, and that translated to this is my first fiction book, and you can see all that in my website.
Okay. And the name of my podcast is Living the Next Chapter. So I got to ask, what are you doing right now to live your next chapter? What can we expect from you in the future?
Yeah, I have two new stories that I kind of on the research phase. I'm starting to write, and I don't know which one would be the first one that is gonna get my full attention for the next for the next years. But one is related because we after because as a family we traveled a lot, and we got to know a lot of places, and I personally know a lot of places in the world. And when we came back after France, we wanted to dedicate ourselves a lot to traveling inside Brazil that we knew, and it's a big country, but we wanted to get to know more places. There is a lot of things that we didn't see, so we started traveling here in Brazil, and we got to know this nature reserve that is very untouched. And I thought about a story, a science fiction story with aliens coming to this place, and how they would work with this scenario, and it would have a Lovecraftian element with a cosmic horror. So maybe I will go that road. And another road is that another science fiction story, but this time a little bit in the future, where the ability to travel between stars uh, will be discovered as something that was not discovered by humans, but it would be like an inception idea that came from somewhere in the universe with an intention to bring humans to a specific place, and something would happen there.
Wow. So there's a lot to look forward to from a reader's perspective in the future as well.
Yeah,
Good.
because I read this particularly interesting scientific article where they discovered that a bacteria that would infect wolves would make these wolves more courageous, that they would leave their territory and engage in other territories, just so this bacteria could expand its domain. So we would not go to another territory because it goes specifically to this type of wolves, and they are very territorial. They don't leave the territory, but this bacteria would imbue them with this need to advance. And so this is something that really read my attention, and I thought about what would be that would that happen with humans outside the Earth?
Your brain is a busy place. You have a lot of stuff going on in here. I love it. It's very interesting. We need to hear this. This is great.
Yeah, I thought it was so interesting. I know that analogy of this can happen to a wolf here in Earth.
Yeah.
What about something that would imbue us with the ability to discover, for example, faster than light speed.
Yeah.
That with that intention of bringing us somewhere.
That sounds like a very interesting read, Vinny. You got to get going on this. We need this in the world.
Yeah, those. I have other seeds that I want to explore, but they still are now my main focus. They inhabit my brain for some time now.
And your dreams, hopefully, too.
Yeah, in my dreams. Yeah.
I love it, Vinny. We'll have all your information for Vinny in the show notes. Please, everyone, go and grab a copy of this book. Leave a great review when you read this book as well, when you purchase it. Let people know why you love this book as well. I think that Under Full Moons would be a great read for you and a great book for you to share with others as well. If we have listeners in France, we have listeners in Sweden, we now have listeners in Brazil as well. So if you're from any of those places and more, this is going to be a great book for you as well. So I would encourage you to grab a copy. And again, like I said, leave a great review. Vinny would love to hear your thoughts. Go to Vinny's website as well. And I see his socials are there as well. You can connect with him. And I know he'd love to hear from you as a reader and get your feedback on his books and follow his journey as well. Vinny, you got to come back in the future. Again, we talk future. In the future, you got to come back. You'll make my dreams come true by coming back as a guest.
Oh.
Okay? We'd love to see what you're working on in the future as well.
Dave, I mean, you're so talented, and it was a pleasure talking to you. You're very competent in translating like taking the juice of an orange, and I don't know if I have much to offer. I think you extracted everything I could offer, and then it tells you, it just shows how talented you are.
So you can pay me back when I come to Brazil, and you can show me your beautiful city, and we'll go for a nice bite to eat. You can show me. I'd love to meet you someday in person.
It's just gonna be a pleasure, man. It really, really means. I really mean it. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, we'll do that.
It's just not something that was discussing here and we forget about it. I mean, it just come and all. It's gonna be a pleasure to me.
I love it.
It's gonna be my pleasure to show you around.
Excellent. Everyone, all information is always in the show notes. Please support our authors. They'd love to hear from you. Again, Vinny, thank you so much for doing this. I look forward to having you back on in the future.
Thank you, Dave, and it's been a really, really, really pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. Glad to have you here. I just want to let you know that you can always find out what we're doing live in the moment by going to our YouTube channel. Head over to livingthenextchapter.com. There'll be a link right there. Head over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things that all the YouTubers love to say. And in our YouTube channel, a couple things. You're going to get advanced listens. You're going to get the episodes that we're working on in real time. So we record and post daily on our YouTube channel. I'd love for you to give us a follow over there. As well, we're making playlists. We have over 500 episodes. So finding the right episode for you, we're trying to group things into playlists. So if you like children's books, if you like business, you like historical fiction, we're grouping our authors together to make it a little easier for you to find your favorite next author. So head over to livingthenextchapter.com. And again, I'd love to hear from you. Hearing from the listeners of the show is great. And I just want to say thank you for being a part of the podcast family. And I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time and your listen. Take care.